Hey everybody, and welcome to This Woman Can. I am your host, Janice Sutherland, career strategist for professional women of colour over 40 who want to realign their careers with their values and priorities. Now, my guest today is Tanya Marie Dickson. Now, I'm going to do her bio. The first line of her bio actually describes herself. So, sexy mom of a rambunctious 5-year-old, a life design coach to moms, and a soon-to-be birth educator and doula who is all about living holistically. Now, Tanya works with executive moms who no longer know who they are, should I say, post-pregnancy, and feels like they've lost control over their life. She hails from the beautiful Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, but has made Dominica her home away from home for the last 6 years. Now, Tanya, I love the focus on executive moms because back when I started out my career, there was such mixed messages around working moms. So I'm really keen to talk to you about this. So before I get into the real meat of the conversation, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are right now.
Well, this journey has been a very weird one with many pathways. You know, like when you stand in the forest and should I go here? Should I go there? It's been very confusing, but I'm here now as a life coach, a life design coach, and a birth educator and doula in training. And I got here because I would say flat out, I needed help.
Right.
I got to this point as a corporate mom, feeling stressed out and tired, feeling confused about whether or not I loved what I was doing or not.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I can't make these decisions anymore. I just feel scattered and foggy.
Right.
And I wanted help. I wanted a coach. I was there scrolling online, looking for coaches, and I'm going to be honest, trying to find, those free, valuable information that can help me, help myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know, came across Journey, a coaching school.
Right.
I'm like, but Tanya, you don't want to be a coach, you want to find a coach. But then at the same point in time, I just started to remember everyone who I worked with, because I worked at management level,
right.
Always coming to me for things beyond the work.
Right.
So I said, but I've always been coaching then. It seems as though I've always been, providing space, helping, empowering people. And so I said, probably this is a way to help myself and as well, help people. I always like helping people.
Right.
That's what I started that journey of training with Journey. It's so funny to say that, starting that journey with Journey. And I became a certified life coach.
Okay.
And when it comes to training for doula and birth educator, I've always been obsessed with birthing.
Right.
I had a natural birth at my house, no medication. It was the most awakening experience. Yeah. And so I just felt like I need to be in that field. I need to be in that industry.
Right. So I can really hear the motivators there for you. But one of the challenges I find a lot of women have who are transitioning traditionally, I suppose, out of corporate into some other field, be what that may, is that they have a lot of challenges, a lot of fears or concerns about doing that transition. So what was the biggest fear or concern for you when you were making that move from corporate to where you are now?
I'll be very honest. And I think this is what a lot of women, I think we share the same thing. Am I going to make money?
Yes.
Am I going to make money? Am I going to be, especially the high achieving corporate women, am I going to be able to sustain, maintain, be independent?
Mm-hmm.
That was number one on the list. And then number two for me was, what are they going to say? How can you just leave management at a casino or somewhere else and just be a doula?
Yeah.
It's so opposite.
Yes.
What are they going to say about you? Those are my fears. And I still battle with them today.
Okay. I agree with you totally. There's a few more to add to that, but the money one is definitely a big thing. And one of the things I talk to women about is, but you talk about what you're going to lose financially, but there's more to life than wealth. And what will you gain by following something that is more aligned or realigned to what you do? Because I talked to them about realigning their careers. Because like yourself, you said you had this passion and calling, but you had to have this battle with yourself in order to decide where to go, what next steps to take. So Tanya, what do you think was unique for you about pivoting, about making that change, or or say the challenge, the biggest challenge you faced?
Well, the biggest challenge. I think it's always mindset.
Yeah.
It's always mindset. The money aspect is like you said, you weigh the pros and the cons. Okay, I have money, but I am so worn out. I'm not motivated in this place. And then you can envision yourself and you see the dream, and that's you actually feel it. That's what I want. You actually start to drool because that's what you want. But the monkey mind, what will they say? How long is this going to take? It's just a lot of the ifs and the buts. So that has always been my challenge. I think that's everyone's challenge. And it doesn't even matter if it's career or personal life. You face that monkey mind of, should I do this? I mean, if I do this, what's going to happen? It could never be good. Oh my God, why would I do this? And that's how the mind works, especially when it's something completely new. And that's the next thing. You're jumping into something new. You ask yourself, am I skilled enough to even do this? Should I go get some training? What should I do? So it's a lot of confusion, but it's good confusion. It's good. It's scary, but good.
So looking at all that, how did you get past it? Because, you still have to, those voices in your head, in a mean girl, or you've got the monkey mind. How did you get past that? How did you convince yourself that this is the right move for you?
Okay. Well, for me, it has a lot to do with journaling. And journaling with certain prompts of asking myself, is this true? I've started doing that a lot. Like every time I get that, hey, what are you doing? This cannot happen. It's not going to happen. I always remind myself, listen, my mind is just doing what the mind does. It's just trying to protect me. It's just trying to protect me. It's trying to keep me safe. But I have to say, hey, and I actually named the voices in my head.
Right.
I named the voices in my head. I said, hey, Frankie, we're doing this. And this is because I know that this is not going to be the result. This hasn't happened to me before. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. So, and I did that through a lot of journaling, putting my feelings out onto the paper, how I feel about things, why I feel about things, dig in detail, probably why I'm procrastinating on doing this. That's how I started doing it. As well as what really helped me was manifesting, like writing.
Okay.
I would actually write out my dream, seeing myself in that dream and seeing myself achieving that goal. And what it would be like,
Okay. So you did all that manifestation, you did all the journaling, you made the decision that was right for you. But what do you wish you had known, Tanya, before you started out on this reinvention?
What did I wish I would have known? That's a good question. Immediately, my mind is going to kids. I'm just being honest. That's probably what would I change. But what I wish I would have known.
Yes.
That's a good question. Probably I wish I would have known how long it really takes to establish yourself.
Right. Right.
To get a business going to where it's, established, where it's a consistent flow of income. And even then, just knowing that really what business is about, because especially in the field that I'm in, you may find that this month you made 10K, but next month 5. I think learning how business, flows, that there are months where it's higher income, lower income, and learning to be comfortable with that.
Right.
I wish I learned that and knew that before.
Okay.
Yeah, learning to be comfortable with the flow of business.
Yeah, it's all part of it is all part of the process, because you're just learning all over again. Read us learning all over again. So what did you talked about, obviously, what will people say, money and stuff like that, but what did you really fear the most about changing careers?
What did I fear the most? Yeah. What would people say? I thought people would think that I'm a fake.
A fake?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
Well, moving from a role in management, in business operations, a bit of marketing, and then all of a sudden I've become this a light worker, a coach, more on the spiritual side. I've softened. Being in the management role, I was much more, I guess, much more hard.
Right.
I had to carry myself a certain way and, hide the real me, which was a very sensitive, soft person. So I always felt, well, okay, now is my time to be me. Right. Now is my time to just align with who I really am.
Right.
But they're going to say, well, she's a fake. What is she doing? They're going to say, but she doesn't know anything about us. She's a manager. She doesn't know how to coach anyone or to help someone through birth. Yeah. So that was, that word fake.
Yeah. So it sounds like authenticity was very important to you. I know it's a bandied around word, but there's no other word for it. We all know what it means.
I know.
But it sounds like authenticity was very important to you, I suppose. And what I'm hearing is probably authenticity to yourself, to be authentically you, but also to be seen as authentic by the people that were around you.
Yes.
Why do you think that was so important?
Well, for a long time, I was not being true to myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone can do that for long periods of time. It just, it goes from, okay, I got to do this, I got to be this way, to be accepted. And then it just really starts to pile on.
Right.
It becomes really a burden and stressful to be someone you are not.
Yeah.
There comes the explosion.
Yeah, I was about to say, so how does that kind of, I suppose, manifest itself? How did you know this is what was happening? That there's all this unalignment or, misalignment was happening with you.
But I always felt it.
Yeah.
I always felt it, being in management and, having a boss who would tell you do something a certain way, but you don't agree, being afraid to speak up, being afraid that, your opinions are not valued. So I always felt that sort of way, and even with people, partners, and friends, you always hold back, always thinking, well, your thoughts, your ideas are not good enough.
Yeah.
But then I found when I started to get onto that journey of, working on myself, I started to rebel a bit. In very simple ways. I'm known to be a workaholic. I started to cut off. Right. I would be like, okay, it's 4:00, time to go home. I had a boss that would blow up my phone, 11 o'clock in the night, 12 midnight. I started to cut it off. And I felt so much ease in doing it.
Yeah.
I started to dress differently. I never liked the professional wear. Right. It's just not for me. Going to the office with a shirt, a tie, and and a long pants, or it was just never for me. And so I started to see myself, dressing up sort of my way, but still keeping it, together. I started to rebel in little ways. I call it rebel.
Yeah.
Little ways. Yeah. Can you come to the office today on a Saturday? No, I have to spend time with my child.
Right.
So, and I didn't feel that fear anymore to say these things, especially when I told myself, but nobody's forcing you to do this. I didn't hear my boss tell me you had to do this.
Yeah.
So I had to tell myself, this is all on you. You can't blame anyone.
Yeah. I think we sometimes forget that we have choice. We have more choice than we give ourselves, or than we tell ourselves, should I say, because as you said, your boss is ringing up, you have a choice to answer it or not. Now, I know we're thinking, what will it look like? But, is it reasonable or unreasonable? 11 o'clock at night is unreasonable, and nobody could really argue with that, but we have a choice.
Hope so.
Well, we know, but we do have choice. So thanks for sharing that, Tanya. But what would you say was the most difficult part of your transition, and what would have made that aspect of your journey easier?
Yeah, my child. Having a child and trying to start something new as a woman and as a default parent is difficult.
Right.
And I think for me, it's difficult because of my plans as well for my family and my child.
Right.
You know, so I'm starting a business, but I want to homeschool.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm having to spend a lot more time with my child. I'm spending a lot more time, you know, caring for this child, teaching this child, entertaining this child, and I'm trying to start a business.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, I would say, boy, if I could have just done this before I had a baby, I would have. I really would have. I really would have. But at the same time, I have to say, doing it this way is really, really helpful, because having her around really reminds me and keeps me on track then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it keeps me on track. Knowing that I have made that decision to homeschool, I cannot go back to corporate. This is what I need to put my energy and my efforts into. I'm not giving up. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I would say yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, one of the things we do have, and the things we don't like to talk about, but we should talk about, because, you know, in the world of social media, we're always talking about our successes. We're always talking about how shiny and everything, how fabulous everything is. But, you know, for me, failure plays a fantastic part in our journey. And there's so much to be learned from our failures. So how has failure made a positive difference in your life, Tanya?
But I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, Janice, I just don't think I failed at anything.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. I see it more as, how do I say this? I've quitted things. Is that a word? I quit things.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the past. But I quit them because they were just not serving me anymore.
Right.
And so I don't see it as failure. You know, I don't see me leaving that job, or probably starting that course and not finishing it, or, you know, whatever it may be. I don't really see it as failure. I made a choice to like give up.
Right. Right.
And it's because for me, most of the things, it just was not serving me. I think I made a decision to even go into it, not being honest with myself, not being true to myself.
Yeah.
And then there must come that point where you say, well, it's just not aligned. It's just not me. So I'm going to give up. I'm going to quit. I'm going to, you know, I just don't feel like I have failures in my life.
Right. Excellent. I hear that.
Maybe I should say I see it like lessons. I don't know, but when I thought about that question, it's like, what I don't know what I failed at. I don't know. I can't put my finger on anything that I failed at.
Okay, then you're probably more fortunate than most.
You think so?
Yeah.
Have you failed at stuff, Janice? What would you say you failed at?
Lots of things. I have failed in jobs. I've failed exams. I've failed driving tests.
What do you mean you failed in jobs?
I've failed in jobs when they just I worked a lot in the sales arenas. So, you know, hitting targets was always paramount in what I did. So being in those arenas, you didn't hit targets, you failed. You know, you failed. That's how it is. That's how it is. Now, I always used to tell myself I'd failed at marriage, in my first marriage. But when I look back at it and reframe it, actually it was just the wrong person. So I no longer say that, because I'm happily married much longer for you know, to a fantastic man, and we've been together for years. So I just see that as being the wrong person. So I can understand when you talk about reframing things, you know, but there are definitely things that there's definitely things I've failed at. Probably not huge things when I look back at it, but there are things I probably could have done differently if I'd taken a slightly different action. So it didn't go to plan. Yes, as a lesson, but it didn't meet the objective. So I failed the objective.
I still don't know. I mean, I keep going back to your example of failing at sales, and sometimes I think that's probably that company's standard. When it comes to that's their target for selling or whatever it may be. I just feel like a lot of times we see failure, or how do we say this? We describe our failures in comparison to something. What if that just was not for you? Why do we have to say and use that strong word, I failed? If you get what I'm coming from.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's how I think of it, I mean, look at the job you have now. Was sales a thing for you, would you say?
Yeah, I stayed in sales. My whole career has been sales. Even doing being CEO was commercial. It was about selling and making money.
So but you're doing it differently now compared to when you failed at those other jobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different environment. I take the learnings. What do I do differently? What would I do differently this time round? I failed doing it that way, but what can I learn from it to do it differently next time, to succeed next time?
So you say that you know more.
I know more. I know a different way to do it. I'm not afraid.
So we can only do what we can with what we know.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to try something different,
right.
or take a different tact.
I think that's key to failure too. Like, we can only do what we can with what we have and what we know.
Yeah, and I always tell women to work with what we've got.
Yeah.
So that's what you do.
When you know more and you know better, you'll do better.
Exactly.
Right. I guess that's why I don't see it as failure. I just think you did what you can.
Yeah. Fabulous. So Tanyas, what advice would you share with any women embarking on their own transition or looking to change careers or make that move out of corporate into something entirely different?
I think you should definitely take time to work on yourself, before even making that move. And I'm not the type to, how do I say? Don't rush.
Right.
I think it's really important that you become still and you really think about what you want. What do you need? Yeah. And work on yourself. Think about the things that you want and you need in your life. Don't rush and decide to just, apply for a new job or quit your job and start your new business. And take your time and really figure out where you are and where do you want to be. Yeah. And that can happen in many ways. So
share with some of the ways that can happen.
I mean, just, I guess, taking more time for solitude, time for thinking and journaling, really mapping out where you are. It could be looking at your finances, so you'll know how you can make a move. Am I going to leave this job and just start a business? It could be finding time now to, get a coach and start coaching, or go to a therapist and start therapy. I think you just really need to work on yourself and figure out, where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah. But I think that's a place where a lot of women get stuck, though. It's that, I kind of know where I am right now, but I have no idea where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that can always be a big challenge.
I think that's why they're coaches and they're people like you.
Yeah.
And me.
Yes, definitely.
That can really help you co-create with you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever that you don't know what you want or need.
Yeah.
It's there, it's within you.
It's definitely there. You just haven't been asked the right questions.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what a coach does for you. A coach is going to probe.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may not like it, but
exactly,
it helps.
Exactly.
It definitely helps you to make decisions.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that with us. So Tanya, share this a success quote or a mantra that you use and why it's meaningful to you.
Well, right now I'm stuck on Octavia Rahim's. It's from her new book, I would think, yes. And it says there's growth in stillness.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's because I went through 2 severe burnouts.
Right.
In my time of, working corporate. And that's because I just never understood what it means to be still, to take time to rest, to rejuvenate. And I have been consciously working on that since I've left corporate and started my business. And it's something that I love helping women with as well. We need to understand and feel okay with being still. We need to know the benefits of being still. Something I have to remind myself, we're in this system, this society that always tells us that productivity is busyness. And I no longer believe that. Right. I no longer buy into that hustle culture, that grind culture, go, because it doesn't necessarily mean productivity.
It's true.
Rest is also a productive thing to do. Your body needs rest. You need that to be able to be more creative at whatever you're doing, to be able to solve those problems that come up in our life. Rest is important. And I wish that, more people would know that. I think we do, but it's just so hard to go against the grain, to go against what everybody else is saying, which is go. If you rest, you're lazy.
It's true. It's true. I definitely hear what you mean by that. So what do you think, Tanya, holds some women back from going for their goals?
Mindset. I think everything is mindset.
Yeah.
Everything is mindset. The imposter syndrome, not believing in yourself. I think that's what holds us back. I think what can also hold back women especially could be support, not having that support, especially if you have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things on your plate, and then you have these goals that, in your heart burning and you want to achieve, but not having that support with probably, someone to look after your kids, someone to make that dinner, someone to do those errands, someone at work that you can say, hey, could you, finish off that file for me? You'd find yourself having to, stick to those obligations so that, and pushing your passions aside, pushing your goals aside. So I would say imposter syndrome and definitely support.
And now I hear that about the support, but one of the things I've often come across, is that as women, we're not very good at asking for that support.
No,
now we believe it should be obvious that we need the support. Can't you see how hard I'm working? Can't you see what I'm doing? Why aren't you helping me? Why do I have to ask? But those three little letters, that ASK, that's another 3-letter word. It can be very debilitating if we're not adept at asking it, at using it, should I say. I've tripped up there, and using it. But so I think we have to take some responsibility to ask what we want, because my husband will often remind me, I am not a mind reader. He'll tell me, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what you want.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So how can women ask for what they want more?
Well, first of all, don't be demanding. I believe a lot of us women, leaders, executives, corporate women, we have a way of being demanding. I think it comes from the bitterness and resentment we feel like, around, can't you see I need help? Don't you see me working hard? But first of all, don't be demanding. And I think if you don't know what you want, then how do I say this? If you're not sure what you want help with, probably you can ask someone, how can you help me? How can you take some load off of me? You may not know that, okay, you want someone to, take that laundry and do it for me, or cook a meal. You may not know because you're so overwhelmed, you're so scattered. But ask then that partner, that child, that friend, how can you help me take a load off? What can you do for me? What's possible for you? I think that's key when it comes to asking for help. Yeah, I think a lot of us, we don't know. We just don't know what to ask, what to ask for.
Right.
Because we're always wondering as well, are you capable of doing it like me? I think we always have that in our head. Are you capable of, are you going to do it the right way? Are you going to do it like me?
Yeah.
And that's the next thing. We need to just let go. Let go. Let go. You're not the only one who can do something.
And
somebody else can do it.
Yeah, your way isn't always the right way.
Exactly.
And the objective is, if you have a task that has to be done, what's the objective? It's not how it's done, it's the output or the outcome
Right.
you're looking for. That's where your focus should be.
Not perfectionism.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Exactly. So Tanya, we're gonna fast forward. You can go back into years, and you've had a great business, and all that kind of stuff. Things gone really, really well. So, what advice would you give your 75-year-old self?
I will not be giving my 75-year-old self any advice. I am definitely going to tell her, girl, it's just time to really enjoy yourself, like even more. If you need to figure out something, go within. You have all the answers. Go within and listen. That's it. I'm not about to tell my 75-year-old self anything.
Fabulous.
I just truly believe that everything is really within us. You don't really need anyone to tell you what to do or to give you advice. You just need to listen to your intuition.
Right. And trust it.
Mm-hmm.
And trust it. Yep. And trust it. So we're coming down to our last couple of questions. I'll get you out the hot seat. So if you could choose your own mentor, who would it be and why?
Boy, wow. I'm having a lot of trouble these days looking for a mentor. But I think I'm going to start with my why. My why I would be looking for a financial or wealth manager, or someone who can help me with my finances. So I would look for a mentor that can help me with that. And the only person that I've been, really stuck on lately, what's her name? They call her the budgetnista. Right. Not sure if you came up, you know of her. Yes, Tiffany. Yeah. Tiffany the budgetista. I think it's Alicia is her last name. Get Good with Money. She wrote that book. I just really enjoy her lives on social media. I love mentors who are so giving, and they're not holding back. They're giving you, even though they have books, they have ways for them to earn money or to get money from you. They still give so much value. She had so many lives. Up to last night, she had one about the value of coaching and why we should invest in ourselves, invest in having a coach. And I was like, wow, this is great. She talks about how to budget, how to invest. These are things that I am really interested in. So I would say her, Tiffany, the budgetista, and definitely Octavia Rahim, because of her openness about rest.
Right.
And going through what I went through and wanting to find peace of mind in liking rest and loving rest, Yeah. So I would say those two. Fabulous. Yes, I think Octavia also teaches regenerative yoga.
Okay.
Which I'm into yoga a lot. So yes.
Excellent. So Tanya, what are the 3 things have you learned about yourself during your career?
I'm a perfectionist.
Okay.
I'm way too concerned with the bells and the whistles. And I think this goes back to the authentic self. I'm way too concerned with the bells and the whistles, and sometimes I forget that people are much more concerned with you. Learning more about you and who you are. Yeah, they're not concerned with all that graphic arts that you may do on your social media posts.
Yeah.
They're really concerned with getting to know you and like you and trust you.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, that for sure. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to those things. Of course, people pleasing goes with that as well. I've learned a lot in terms of like pricing and trying to work with people. Oh my, I've made many mistakes there. I just love to help. I love to help. And I find myself sometimes, in the past, not anymore, I would lower rates, and I said to him, I'm thinking this is going to be helpful, but I've learned that others looking in can see that as, your service is not valuable. They can see that you are not aligned. You don't know your worth.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the third thing second thing, sorry, that I would say I've learned. And the third thing, being a workaholic, being a recovering, being a recovering burnout, like a burnoutie, is constant work.
Right.
You can easily slip back into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am obsessed with, I can sit for hours working on something and forget to eat lunch, forget to take a break, ignore everyone around me. So it takes, I have to be very conscious, set an alarm on my phone, tell someone to come and get me and remind me to eat lunch, or, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I've learned those three things for sure.
Okay. Excellent. 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 So my last question, where would we find you on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. typically?
I love the market. I love Whole Foods. I just love the market, the colorful market. Everybody having conversations. In Dominica, they speak Creole, so they're speaking, Creole, and yes, they speak English over there. A few cuss words, yes, we know, but it's just the energy. I love the market. I love shopping for fresh food, and I love as well. You'd find me home, probably cleaning my space, because I'm big on that as well.
Okay.
I love clearing space, cleaning.
Excellent, excellent. So thank you so much for sharing with us today. So if people want to get to know more about what you do or where to find, how can they find you?
Oh, well, I am a big fan of IG. I love IG, but I'm on all the other platforms as well, Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, you can find me at Coach Tanya Dickson. On IG, you can find me at Moms on Their Own Terms.
Okay, I like that name.
Moms on Their Own Terms. And LinkedIn, Tanya Dickson, of course. Okay. So yeah, you can look for me there. I'm on all platforms for now.
Fabulous. So Tanya, thank you so much for your time today. It was great having a chat with you, and good luck with all your endeavors.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you as well. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.